Okay, sort of at a dead end here and hoping somebody can help me. Here's the quick backstory. Pair of Crusader 8.1s, tore them all down, had them rebuilt, got them back in the machine shop, put them all back together, did some test runs, and both oil pan gaskets leaked. So that's the gist of this video. It's oil pan gasket leak. So I'm done, and this has been going on for 2 weeks, and this is actually the last thing, and I just cannot get these things not to leak. So shop did both. I had a pretty good leak on this one in the front of the pan and the rear of the pan. At first I thought it was the rear main seal, pulled the transmission out. It wasn't. It was kind of the bottom, each end of those gaskets are like a U, and it seemed like it was right in the middle on the front and rear of the pan. So I redid this one. I didn't think they used enough RTV in the corners, so I fixed that. Obviously cleaned it all up. It was, mating surfaces were perfect, brand new gasket. I didn't even try to clean up the old one, which was actually brand new. Redid it, put oil in it, let it sit overnight. It looked good. And I'm trying to remember, this is going back like 2 or 3 weeks. But however it worked out, I ran this one for a half an hour. It was good enough that I said, all right, let me test run it. So I think it sat for a couple of days. Ran it for a half an hour. Perfect, no leaks, looks good. Okay, push that one to the corner. That one's done. Got the exact same issue with this one. So, shop did it. It leaked. I think this one leaked only out of the rear though. Dropped it down, redid it, put oil in it, let it sit overnight, looked good. I wheeled it out, this is 2 days ago, to do another test run on this one. And just before I was about to hit the ignition switch, I said, let me just take a look underneath. Yeah, and sure enough, this one is leaking right out of the pan, again at the rear. So, I don't know if you can see that. There's a drip there. I'm not sure how the drip got on that side. And then there's a drip right in the middle, which is kind of running down. Hopefully you can see that. And again, that's just from sitting. So this one hasn't even run yet. This thing is leaking just with oil in the pan. So I went over, I said, oh man, I got to redo this one. And I said, just for kicks, let me look at the one that I did. And now this one has sat for 2 weeks. And I totally put a bow on this one. I was actually going to plan on maybe installing these in the next couple of weeks. And I looked underneath, and you can see right there, right out of that little hole near the belt housing cover, there's one drip. So it's doing the same thing. So I'm stumped. I'm not really sure what to do. I've tried more RTV in the corners. I put RTV, I think the weak point, at least where the leaks appear to be, are on each end of the U-shaped part of the gasket. So I put a bead of RTV, the 1 minute Right Stuff RTV, which I love, underneath the rubber gasket, and then a little bead on top. But it just doesn't seem to make a difference. So I'm stumped. And it's like the simplest thing after all this. I'm stuck on oil pan gasket, leaks on both. So I'm half tempted to just forget about this one and just live with it, which I need to think on that tonight. Seems crazy to install it if I know there's a drip, because I'll live with that for the rest of my life while it's installed. This one is, leaking even more, so I've got to do something with this engine. So any thoughts here on this one-piece gasket? I'm open to suggestions because I'm definitely stumped and getting a little burned out redoing this again and again. All right, let me know. Thanks.